For some time now, Tesla has been hinting at the fact that their supercharging network would eventually be opened up to all electric cars. And we've seen pilots of this happen in Europe, and to some degree of success, this has been working out well for everybody. Now, of course, there's been a lot of concern here in the United States, understandably so, from Tesla owners who currently have the exclusive rights to use that Tesla charging network. Without a doubt, the Tesla Supercharging Network is the best charging network here in the United States, and that is not likely to change anytime soon. So this week we finally got some details on how Tesla plans to open up its supercharging network to all electric vehicles. The White House did release a statement just yesterday outlining exactly what Tesla is planning on doing. In addition, they've also outlined their priorities on this charging network that is a part of that $1 trillion infrastructure bill that was passed in November of 2021. With this, it included $7.5 billion for a charging network of 500,000 electric chargers in the United States. So now basically we have an outline of what the requirements are to get some of that government money. And on the other hand, we also have details from Tesla on what they're planning to do with their network. So even though Tesla continues to be snubbed by Congress and specifically this administration because, well, they don't pay enough money to the party, there continues to be challenges with recognition of what Tesla is and has done in the past. And for some diehard Tesla fans, it's understandable why this whole situation is frustrating. But at the end of the day, the White House understands they need Tesla, they need Elon Musk in order to make their priority of 50% electric cars by 2030 a reality. Because the actual reality is the public charging network today is terrible. And I don't have to point you very far to see clear examples of that happening. The problem with a terrible charging network like that is it's very hard to convince people that electric is the future when they make a road trip and the next charger they get to doesn't even work. That is unacceptable. And the fact that this has been allowed to go on for so long is even worse. But nonetheless, moving forward, there's finally a plan, and we just got details on the first $2.5 billion of the $7.5 billion in funds. Real quick though, if you enjoy this video and content just like this, be sure to subscribe so you can see more. In addition, by hitting that like button, you're really helping to allow this video to reach more people so they too can understand the details that I'm going to lay out in front of you. So basically what happened is the Build America, Buy America Charging and Fueling Infrastructure CFI discretionary grant program has outlined $2.5 billion over the next 5 years as the first round to cities, towns, tribes, and states. Basically, what they're saying is it must be a reliable, equitable, and frictionless for public charging network. Effective immediately, final assembly and all manufacturing processes for iron and steel charger enclosures or housings must occur in the United States. By July 1st of 2024, at least 55% cost of all the components manufactured here domestically. There's also some rules on how this charging network should operate, and here's what those rules look like. Charging is a predictable and reliable experience. It must be consistent plug types, power levels, and a minimum number of chargers. Of course, we don't know how many chargers that is, but it needs to have a minimum. Chargers are working when drivers need them. 97% uptime reliability. Of course, there's only one charging network that does that today. Drivers can easily find a charger when they need to. Publicly accessible data on locations, price, availability, and accessibility all through map apps. So whether that's the integrated map in your car's navigation screen or it is on your smartphone, it needs to be able to find these chargers easily as you're going through a route. Drivers do not have to use multiple apps and accounts to charge. A single method of identification works across all chargers. This one's actually going to be a big challenge because today, just me, I have EVgo, I have Electrify America, I have ChargePoint, and of course I have a Tesla account as well. That's 4 very different accounts, and I fund all 4 of those. So being able to integrate that all together means there's probably going to be some challenges on how to get everybody to play nicely. Chargers will support drivers' needs well into the future, compatibility with forward-looking capabilities like plug and charge. Right now, Tesla is the only one that has plug and charge, and I know Mercedes is really working on making that work for their own standalone network. So this is something that is part of that user experience that is necessary to make this whole transition that much easier. So now the big question, what has Tesla promised to do? Well, here's what they've outlined. Tesla has agreed to bring 7,500 chargers for all EVs by the end of 2024. So in the next 2 years, 7,500 Tesla chargers will be accessible. Of that, 3,500 will be new and existing V3 250 kilowatt superchargers. Currently the fastest superchargers out there, those are V3, those are 250 kilowatt chargers. And most electric cars that can fast charge are going to top out around there. There are some other vehicles like the Porsche Taycan that can charge faster, but this is a very good speed and works very well, at least with today's technology. In addition, Tesla will be bringing online 4,000 level 2 destination chargers at hotels, restaurants, urban and rural areas. And this is really good. And Tesla has actually already rolled out a wall connector that will do just this, and it does have a J1772 plug on the end of it, so it's already made to work with non-Teslas. In addition, consumers will be able to access via the Tesla app or the Tesla website, presumably meaning you can set up an account and either download the app on your phone, or you can just simply go onto the website while you're at the charger. So this will allow people who don't have a Tesla to be able to actually activate the charger and be charged for that session. Finally, Tesla has agreed to more than double its current domestic network by the end of 2024. And to put that into perspective for you, right now in the United States, there's about 130,000 electric chargers. Of that, about 30,000 of them are DC fast chargers. Tesla is 60% of the charging network in the United States. If they double, that will give you just over 35,000 superchargers. With that 35,000 superchargers, 3,500 of them committed to all electric cars. That gives you about 10% of the network would be accessible by all electric cars. So it may not be quite as dramatic as you may have been thinking it would be. There are many reasons why this is great news, and some of you will be happy, some of you will be upset. Let me know in the comments which camp you fit in. Hopefully after watching this video though, you're more in the middle of the road and can start to get behind this. If you truly want to advance electrification in the United States, you would open up the best charging network to everybody. And that's exactly what Tesla's going to be doing at the end of the day. Of course, whatever negotiations happen behind the scenes, I am sure there are billions of dollars at stake that Tesla has the potential to grab onto, which is good for their business. In addition, having the best charging network, even if you're going to charge a premium for non-Teslas, this can, in theory, be good for the bottom line as well as you move into the future if you are the go-to for charging your electric car. It's very interesting though, because it's almost as if the White House went and had the Tesla experience with charging. They kind of wrapped that all up into requirements and said, this is what the network needs to look like. So essentially, what Tesla has done is what the public charging network needs to be. From reliability, plug and charge, all these requirements are already met by Tesla. And they're the only ones who meet these requirements aside from being accessible by all electric cars. So it's interesting that they did that, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. There are a lot of people who will not consider anything but a Tesla simply because of the charging network. And that's a really good reason to not consider any other car. The public charging network today is terrible, and to not have a Tesla means it's going to be challenging, and it's going to sometimes be questionable if the charger's even going to be working when you get to the next stop. So being able to push the entire industry to being more reliable and being more accessible and being better is good for everybody. So Tesla is only going to be a small piece of this from a numbers perspective. However, the rest of the charging industry is going to have to get their stuff together. They can't just continue to put out things that are not working well. They need to address these issues, and they need to start installing equipment that is usable. And this is going to help make that happen. So hopefully this will all come out to work out better in the end for you, the consumer. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram @BeardedTesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.